you correctly is your experience in CIC. Because other than the introduction, IED, you packed it. Your chair there. ICJ, you packed it. It has just been CIC, and I see where you're coming from. And that's where my first question comes in. Another consistent parallel to your CIC experience has been the liner, resistance to change. And at the end, when Bore was questioning you, you said both the executive and parliament. If I may ask, why does Ayako now feel that when it becomes chair of IEBC, that resistance will disappear and he and his team will lower the trust deficit? What will happen that hasn't been there in this resistance to change?
Let me say this. When I talk about the resistance to change at CIC, effectively what I am saying is I expect all levels of resistance, even at IBC, probably because the stakes are higher. At CIC, I wouldn't say that we failed to overcome. I think we went a long way in for lack of a better word, in plowing through that resistance. We didn't always succeed. And that's why I gave some examples of what I consider to, especially in terms of legislation, like the Ethics and Integrity Act. I felt we tried, but it was viciously, for lack of a better word, watered down. But we live to fight another day, and you know, even at IEBC, one expects resistance. It's not that I expect that you'll walk into IEBC and everybody will clap for you and say, this is what we want to do. But what I'm saying, Prof, if the focus is on reducing, if not completely obliterating, that trust deficit, and you start from day one, then you're not even looking at just you as individuals. You're looking, how can technology help us to do this? How can we improve the policies? Can we address, for example, the question, I don't know if it was Dr. Muli or somebody who asked about the complementary system, with the focus on trying. It's not something that I am naive enough to think that can be achieved overnight. But I was answering the question from Mr. Bore, what would I like to be remembered as? That's why I keep saying, even if it's not completely obliterated, because that may not be easy, if it is reduced, as opposed to getting worse, then I will feel I am happy to be remembered that way.
Thank you very much. My other question is that, again, I believe that for IEBC, most of the time, for Kenyans, it is which side of the political divide are you in? And there are those who have time and again become pessimistic that prefix independent should be removed from IEBC because it's never independent. The law that is guiding us in this election panel is very clear. on who is qualified or not qualified to run. And I just want to use the analogy that you gave us of the World Cup. And now I won't mention teams because Kenyans are very passionate about the Premier League. But there are usually some referees that you'll just see trending that they are favoring one side. And my question is that if you were to succeed as chair, what's your understanding of independence and impartiality, given that you and other chairs before have been politically affiliated? It's not a secret. As you walk in and wear in a football match the black or whatever color, and you have that firimbi, and you have the yellow card and the red card, what changes when you walk in there as now the referee of the game? Associate with that, because I won't want to ask another question separately, that we know that sometime, I can't remember which year, but 4 commissioners out of the blue resigned and really put the country in a quagmire over quorum issues and so on. And you, in your own statement, which the chair has followed, has told us that you did quit the ESCJ. In fact, you went ahead to say you were earning $2,000 for a job you felt you are not doing. I don't want to ask that, have you been replaced and is that new person earning money for no reason? I don't want to go there. I want to stick to your quitting. Given that those 4 commissioners quit and put the country in the tenterhooks of what finally happened, Kenyans watching will be asking, Charles Nyachae did quit once. Will he quit again? Especially in this high-pressure job. What assurance do you give them that that will not happen?
Thank you.
Please take maximum of 4 minutes.
Okay. The answer is no. I will not quit because I do not anticipate a situation at IEBC that the job for which I have been recruited, if I become chair, that I simply don't have anything to do, and therefore there's no point in me going to the office. I don't anticipate that. I have endeavored to explain what happened in the ESCJ. At IEBC, the one thing that will not make me quit is any kind of pressure. Because this is something I have given thought to. I mean, I am not applying for this job thinking it's going to be a bed of roses. So pressure will not be the reason that I will quit. And because I do not see a scenario where I have no work to do, I will not quit, because that work could be actually, if it's a question, for example, of trying to get resources to do A, B, C, D, that in itself is significant work to do. So the question of quitting, if I got the position, doesn't arise. Now, you made reference to political affiliations. I think your average Kenyan, at some point, probably has some kind of political affiliation. My mind is very clear that notwithstanding any political affiliation I may have had at any point in my public life, if I got this opportunity and I accepted this job, I will only be guided by the Constitution of Kenya, the laws, And of course, if I get the opportunity, I will be taking an office, an oath of office. So I am able to look the people of Kenya in the eye collectively and tell them that in that situation, I would have every intention of living by that oath of office. Daktari, and allow me to say this just as an example. The way the IEBC Act is designed, several of the honorable members around the table come here by virtue of political parties. But as I sit here as a candidate, I don't have the slightest doubt that every member in this panel is going to do their job impartially and focus on what they believe is the best result. I have no qualms whatsoever. I cannot say that so-and-so maybe at some point was a member of this party, that and the other. And I think we have the capacity to rise above that at different times. And I can look the people of Kenya in the eye and say, yes, I would be able to do the job impartially.
So you are a real footballer. You have returned the ball into his court. But I want to ask you, Prof, to shoot your 2 high school questions.
The chairman has asked me to shoot my high school question. You are in ESCJ, which means you are in the body organogram of the East African community. The ESC Treaty envisages 4 stages. How many are already in place, and which ones are in place and which ones are not yet in place?
If you are to ask, different people have different thinking on this, but if you are to ask me, I would say that what is in place, to a certain extent, not fully, is basically the common market. That's actually the one that I would be comfortable to say is in place. The others, I would have reservations to say that they're in place. Yeah.
My second question that Chair calls high school question is that the Electoral Commission of Kenya has promulgated at the Lancaster negotiation for the Independence Constitution, ran the 1963 election, then amendments to the Constitution literally buried it until the return of multipartism when ECK was again reenacted into the Constitution. Which body, which office ran the elections from 1969 to 1988?
There was an office called the Supervisor of Elections. In practice, the elections were run by the then provincial administration. I think basically that's the answer I would give.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Mr. Tanui?
Mine is a quick one. Justice retired Chairman Emeritus, if I may use those terms. What would you tell Kenyans who are saying that you've served this country as a judge of the East African Court? You've also served Kenyans as chairperson of CIC, and now you should allow other Kenyans to serve as chair IEBC. What can you tell them?
Yes, I would tell Kenyans, essentially I am not before this panel from the perspective of looking for a job, so that one can say, wachia wengine na wao wafanye kazi. Of course it's a job, but, and I reflected long and hard. And I imagine if I was looking for a job, I would probably still, even at my age, get a less dramatic job. The reason that I am offering myself is because, one, I remain passionate about the Constitution of Kenya 2010. I believe that the electoral process is really the backbone of the democratic architecture that the people of Kenya envisaged in that Constitution. I believe that I have something to offer to the people of Kenya in this regard, arising from my training, arising from my experience, and arising to my passion about the Constitution. I would not be as arrogant as to imagine that I'm the only one who can do this job. No, I'm just telling the panel and the appointing authority, I'm available. I believe I can do the job. I would be committed if I got the opportunity. So I'm not really, I would want to tell the people of Kenya that I'm not really trying to squeeze into a job which other people can do. Of course, there are many Kenyans who can do the job. But I'm just saying, I believe I can do the job and I am available. That's basically what I'm saying.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Justice. We are required as a panel to receive memorandum from citizens of this country.
Yes.
And